2025, unemployment after rebasing at about 4.5 or 4.7% will drop. And it will drop drastically because you can employ more and also pay. And everybody you are paying at minimum wage level will not also pay tax to government. Wow. So government is only focusing on, high net worth individuals and bigger companies at the rate in which it is stipulated. So in all, this benefits potent for everybody. Nigeria will grow.
Nigeria will grow. Yes. Okay. So in the issue of the removal of inheritance tax,
okay,
that also was amended in the Nigerian tax bill to exclude income on inherited assets before distribution.
That's before distribution.
Before distribution. Yes. Can you quickly take us through what obtained before this came on board? Because again, it was clear that before distribution. So what was it before the House amended this section?
Okay, so that's another beautiful aspect of the law, and that's why we always speak good when we see things like this. And so before now, if you want to if you inherit properties or asset, let's use the word asset, if you want to go for your administration or you want to go for probate, yes, before distribution they are taxed, and it is usually 10% to government after valuation. Okay. Yes.
So distribution, would it be after it is sold or whatever?
No, before it is being distributed by
the family.
By the family. You appoint administrators. We call them admos to oversee the assets or the estate. Thank you for that word. So before distribution, before perfection, you must pay to government. And this aspect of this law is not saying that before you distribute, there's no tax. No tax.
May I ask this? Where is that money coming from?
Which money now?
No. Before distribution, how are you getting taxed for?
No, you get that. Okay, for instance, now, a deceased left a property. What about 100 million, for example? Now you want to transfer that asset to the family or appointed administrators. You will go to government. You will fill forms, go through documentation. At that point, the probate register will bill you. You 10%. Need to pay 10% by law. You must pay 10% to government by law. So the new tax administration bill is saying that because that asset now, it has a value, but it has not been distributed. Right. So before, as you are processing your documentation, before distribution, there's no point in paying taxes. So, but after distribution, then applied taxes will occur. And, because of religion too, I don't really want to go into religion. Some certain regions do not even believe in such form of transfer of inheritance for it to be billed before now. And so, looking at the House of Rep, they had to marry all form of everything together. And that's why it is better after your inheritance has been shared, whatever profit comes from there is now being taxed, which is different from before it is even transferred, you must pay certain taxes to government, which in all, still, it is for the benefit of the people.
Okay, another thing that also caught my attention in this particular bill is the provision relating to excise duty, which were deleted across various bills due to concerns about economic impact. What does this imply for those who import into the country?
Yes, it's also a beautiful one because they believe strongly that Nigeria has been a mono economy for years, where we do not produce. We are a consumption country instead of, and we want to transit from consumption to production. So if we must do that, excise duties must be dropped. And if you drop it, it gives more incentive to importers to be able to do more business. And Mr. President last year, he removed so many items from the exclusive list so that Nigerians can, including food too. And that's why we see that food inflation is dropping very rapidly. And so he removed so many from exclusively so that Nigerians can be able to bring in products. As you bring in the product, it affects businesses from wholesale to retail. And removing that excise duty, you will see what will begin to come into. And everything, like I said, is for the benefit of Nigerians, where excise is removed completely at 5%. But the major point from the National Assembly was that it will affect FX positively, it will affect production positively, it will affect job creation positively, and equitable distribution of wealth to go across to.
Would that bring down the price of vehicles and, of course, what people pay when they bring in their vehicles into the country?
Well, a major component of that level of importation is FX, is the dollars.
Right.
So, if the dollar continues to play a major role, it might not affect, greatly, significantly, but it could affect just a little bit, but it will not affect very significantly. And in the last 3 to 5 months, we have also seen that there's stability in dollars. There's stability in dollars. There are fluctuations once in a while, but there's stability in dollars at about 1,500 to 1,550 to 80, and thereabouts.
Okay.
Yes.
But in your opinion, do you think that this reform is able to improve tax collection and make it more efficient? And again, I know you mentioned earlier that the issue about Nigeria being a mono economy.
Yes.
And so, is this also able to help Nigeria find a balance around diversifying her economy?
Beautiful. In terms of the first one,
the tax efficiency collection.
Okay, so for the collection,
because if you're now going to be taxing only the bigger individuals, you're leaving the smaller ones. Will that translate to more revenue for government?
Yes. So if you look at the third one you mentioned and the fourth one, that's the Nigerian Revenue Service Bill, and the fourth one is the Joint Revenue Board Tax Bill. Both is centered around collection and management by the board. Now, in terms of that collection, there were several laws that were, tweaked thereabout, for collection. So it means that from start, which is, before now, you don't even know where to pay your taxes. You don't know how much you are to pay. Okay. You need a consultant to be able to go through tax processes. You need an admin department or an account department of an organization to be able to pull through. But as we speak now, there's clarity of purpose in this bill, whereby from your own desk, you can calculate your taxes. You can get your TIN, that is your TIN, that's your identification number. You can get your TIN. You can know the tax area where you will pay to. On the comfort of your seat, you will get receipts, acknowledgement, and you get your statement directly. And so the collection part of it has been simplified, whereby technology will play a very big role as we speak for collections. And in terms of management, that's why they want to set up the revenue board. That revenue board basically will take charge, and I want to believe strongly that IFRS may be changed to NTB. Okay. No, Nigerian Tax Board also.
So maybe. Ajibala, sorry, just to ride on what you've said now. I think this was where also some Nigerians were skeptical whether or not bodies like the Nigerian Customs Service, the Nigerian Immigration, FIRS, like you mentioned, may be scrapped or may come under one body. So if the FIRS with a name change, how do we accommodate all of these organizations that one way or the other also collect revenue for the federal government? Okay, so there has been conversations around that already, and it started during the last quarter of last year, and I strongly believe that maybe before the end of the second quarter, if I have the opportunity to come back here, you will see that so many of their collection
mechanism will be harmonized.
Right.
That's one thing I know, because we are part of the discussions too. It will be harmonized. Talk of customs, immigrations.
So everybody would pay one channel of payment.
The payment will go into one channel.
Okay.
Directly. The institutions that they want to use, we cannot tell.
Yet.
We cannot tell. But we know that they are tweaking around the technology to be able to harmonize those. And on a single spreadsheet, you can see from which institution what is coming, and the CBN, Ministry of Finance can monitor adequately. But we know that it's going to be harmonized very soon. It will be harmonized.
Okay, talking about harmonization and making the tax system very efficient,
Yes.
how do we also leverage on technology to block loopholes? Because we all know there is no system that is 100% foolproof.
Yes. So that's part of the conversation now, that part of the law stipulates it very clearly that technology will play a very big role in terms of collection. And if that comes into play, already now, we are very clear, like I said earlier, on what to pay, how to pay. Nigerians are getting more sensitized, and information needs to just spread more, and things will work well. So if Nigerians begin to ask the right questions, and they see what their tax payment is being used for, it will also put the people in this form of administration into perspective, and it will put them on their toes. But I know that technology is being tinkered upon to harmonize these taxes. Nigerians at your comfort zone will be able to see what goes into government in terms of your payment, the acknowledgement, your feedback from them, and we can even project as a country or as even institutions to see if government is really giving back to its citizens.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the many Nigerians that will be exempted from this will be the military personnel.
Oh, yes.
The House did say that on their personal income, they will be exempted, stating that the reason is due to the critical nature of their assignment. Is it the only military? Is it only the military that fall into the category of critical nature?
That's the law. But it's not only the military.
But
if you look at this law very well, critical sectors too were also considered. Hospitals will also get exemptions.
Okay.
Maybe not fully, if I check well. Hospitals will get exemptions, and one or two other sectors too, but the military in most climes, because most of these laws we get from foreign countries where it has worked well, and we look at it to confine it to the Nigerian way. And so the military is very important in every aspect. Look at their pensions too. They do not do the normal contributory pension scheme that every other person does. By law, they don't. They don't pay withholding tax. For them too, that's the military. Military investment do not pay withholding tax. So for them, it's an incentive to boost their morale. Look at the level of insecurity. Now, the military men know that they are not going to be taxed on personal income tax, which is beautiful in nature. Okay. And so, for military, our hearts will always go out for them because of the job they do in terms of protecting our borders and territory.
Okay.
Yes.
Jibola, you done? Okay, before we allow you go, now that the members of the House of Representatives have given their nod, then we'll move to the Senate.
To the Senate.
Are you positive that this will be the final, or do you see the senators also wanting to make some amendments before it is finally passed?
Okay, so if you look at it before now, it went to the Senate. It
came back.
The Senate, the Senate had already done their job.
Their own...
Beautiful. It was the same House of Reps that the issues came up from, and it was dropped for a bit for further consultation. Now that the consultations are concluded from the same House of Reps, take it to the Senate, give them 2-3 days. It will fly.
It will fly, and then it will be sent to Mr. President.
It will fly, yes.
For the final assent.
Yes.
Okay.
So before the end of the first quarter, we should have the tax reform bill as a law.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Oluseyi Odufuwa, for always finding time to enlighten us here on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe will take on her guest on the Lagos Conversation.